Let's talk about a man you've probably never heard of. But his decision in one single, incredibly tense moment helped define the birth of an entire nation. This is the story of P.S. Raman.
It's a huge question, right, for any new country. Is it a flag, an anthem, a declaration on a piece of paper? Or is it found somewhere else, maybe in a moment of completely unexpected, raw vulnerability?
So, picture this. It's 1965. Singapore has just gone through a sudden, painful separation from Malaysia. It's a brand new country, totally uncertain about its future. Its leader is overwhelmed by it all, and one broadcast director is holding the footage, facing a choice that could change how his own people and the entire world see their new leader and their new nation.
This right here, this is that moment. A press conference that would go down in history, but one that almost never saw the light of day. Okay, so what's so incredible here is the sheer tension of it all. You've got Lee Kuan Yew, Singapore's toughest nails founding father, on TV announcing this traumatic split, and then his voice breaks. He actually cries on camera. For Lee, this was a disaster, a sign of weakness. He ordered it cut. But P.S. Raman, his director of broadcasting, saw something totally different. He saw a moment of history, and he flat out refused to erase it.
And this is the crucial point. Raman stood his ground against the most powerful man in the country. He argued that these weren't tears of weakness. They were the tears of a father who just had this immense responsibility, this new child, this nation thrust upon him. It was a moment of real, genuine pain that every single person in Singapore was feeling. Broadcasting it, Raman argued, wouldn't show weakness. It would unite everyone in that shared moment. And guess what? He won the argument.
So that just begs the question, right? Who was this guy with the guts to stand up to Lee Kuan Yew? To really get why he made that call, we have to look at his story. And, it didn't start in Singapore.
Raman's early life was just a series of wild twists and turns. Born into India's highest caste, he ends up becoming an expert in cutting-edge radar with the British Royal Air Force. He was a passionate India nationalist, but he sided with the British against the Japanese because he thought it was the smarter path to freedom. But then, after the war, the violent partition of India just left him heartbroken. So he takes off for Indonesia to join their independence movement, but, well, fate and an empty wallet left him stranded in Singapore.
And this tells you everything you need to know about him. Once in Singapore, he just systematically breaks with his past. He completely rejected the strict traditions he was born into, he converted to Christianity, and he married a local Chinese woman, Limeng Neo. This was a guy who followed his own conscience, not what other people expected of him. And that independent streak is exactly what drew him to another bunch of rebels, Lee Kuan Yew and his People's Action Party.
So having found his cause and his new home, Raman went from being an outsider to being one of the key architects of this new nation's identity, and he did it fast. His rise was, well, it was meteoric. He starts out by founding a school, but when Lee Kuan Yew's party gets into power, they needed people they could trust to get their message out. Raman gets tapped to lead the Tamil section of Radio Singapore, and from there, boom, he quickly becomes the director of the entire state broadcaster, turning it into the main engine for explaining what the new government was trying to do.
And there it is, the ultimate seal of approval from Lee Kuan Yew himself. Years after they clashed over that footage, Lee didn't just remember him as a broadcaster. He called him a shrewd and sound advisor. It's just a powerful piece of evidence that Raman's judgment back in 1965 wasn't just right, it was absolutely essential.
But Raman's service to Singapore didn't end there, not even close. After shaping its voice at home, he was asked to be its voice abroad, in some of the most dangerous places you could possibly imagine. Just think about these assignments for a second. First, he's sent to Indonesia in '68. Relations were toxic. Singapore had just executed 2 Indonesian Marines, and the anger there was boiling over. Then he's off to Moscow in '71, at the absolute peak of the Cold War, representing this tiny capitalist nation right in the heart of the communist empire. These were not cushy jobs, they were the front lines. And this one detail just shows you the measure of his courage. In Jakarta, mobs literally burned the Singaporean embassy to the ground. Most people would have been on the first plane out, but Raman and his family, they stayed. They stayed right there in the middle of all that hostility, and they painstakingly rebuilt Singapore's diplomatic mission from the ashes.
So when you pull all these different threads together, the rebel, the nation builder, the diplomat, what is the legacy that this man leaves behind?
It's this number, 56. P.S. Raman died of a heart attack in 1976. He did everything we just talked about, remade his own life, shaped a nation's media, stared down danger in 2 of the world's hottest diplomatic spots, and he was gone at just 56 years old.
His life was just this incredible arc of transformation. Here's a man who got disillusioned with the country he was born in, only to find a new home and a new purpose. He wasn't just a loyal Singaporean. His own history of rebellion and conviction gave him the exact insight his adopted country needed at its most critical moment.
And that leaves us with one last thing to think about. We often think history is all about the big names, the prime ministers and presidents. But what about the advisors, the rebels, the people who make one brave, correct decision at the perfect time? Whose stories really build a nation?